It was a rough Week 15 for the New York football teams who entered play on Sunday, still alive for the postseason. However, the Giants, they fell to the Saints 24-6 in the Big Easy, and the Jets, they were blanked by the Dolphins 30-0 in Miami. So let's talk some local football. We're going to do it with New York Post NFL reporter Ryan Dunleavy, who joins me now. Ryan, what's going on?
What's up, Dex?
Ain't much, man. Got to talk about some football. Dreary day, dreary in terms of the scores for these New York teams. But let's start with the Giants because they had good vibes going into this one. Winners of 3 straight. Tommy DeVito mania was rising, but the Giants QB was sacked 7 times on Sunday. Rough day for the Giants offense and a loss that should realistically end their faint playoff hopes. Was the loss to New Orleans a bit of a snap back to reality moment for the G-men that shows many of the issues that we have seen this season?
Yeah, I think so. I think everybody got carried away in DeVito mania, which was a cool story. It had insanity vibes going for it. And then, it was nice not to be talking about draft position early on and to go on a 3-game winning streak. And the defense had forced 12 takeaways in over the last 3 games. And the offensive line, they started the same combination 3 weeks in a row. So it was like all the early season ills seemed, if not fixed, at least stabilized, and then they all showed up again on Sunday. I mean, they allowed 7 sacks. The defense didn't force a takeaway. They couldn't get stops against a Saints offense that was without Michael Thomas and Chris Olave, their 2 best receivers. Jimmy Graham scored a touchdown like it was 2009. Like it was Derek Carr throwing it like it was 2011. It just all the old issues resurfaced. Tommy DeVito kind of came back to reality. Which you would expect, right? He's still an undrafted rookie. Just one bad game doesn't mean he's done. He's going to be the starter again next game. So just kind of crashed back to reality. They didn't get much from Saquon Barkley. It was the old defensive game plan of take Barkley away and you take away the Giants. And that's what they did. They took away the Giants' playoff hopes.
They took their playoff hopes away on Sunday as the Giants dropped to 5-9. Now the Jets, Ryan, they arguably had a worse day than the Giants against the Dolphins. Gang Green failed to score any points after putting up 30 last week in Week 14. Quarterback Zach Wilson, he suffers a concussion, didn't return in the second half. The team's now done. They're eliminated from playoff contention. Aaron Rodgers said he wouldn't return to play if the team is mathematically eliminated. So question here is for me, what should Jets fans be watching for with their team over the final 3 games of the 2023 season?
It's not arguable they had a worse day, Dex. They had a worse day. They had 6 less points. They had 100 less yards, and the Giants didn't even have 200 yards. The Jets had 110, and they got eliminated from playoff contention, whereas the Giants are just virtually eliminated. So, no, they had a worse day, and it was a game they had to win to keep the Aaron Rodgers dream alive. Look, I'm not going to rule out Aaron Rodgers playing this season. Does it strike me as possible that he could get cleared on Wednesday and maybe he plays a series or a quarter or a half of the next game, just even though they're eliminated from playoff contention, so that he can prove that, it's an about him world, that he can do something that no one else, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, no one else has ever done, and come back from this injury this fast. So I wouldn't rule out that he's going to play again at some point, whether it's this Sunday or the Sunday after that, just to show that his ways of healing are the right ways of healing. Other than that, what are you looking for? The typical things. Does the team quit on the coach? Because if it does, then you can't bring Robert Saleh back no matter how much Aaron Rodgers says you should. If the effort is there, if it looks like Brandon Staley against the Chargers, you can't. Brandon Staley and the Chargers against the Raiders, you cannot bring him back. So is the team still playing hard for the coach? What is Garrett Wilson frustration levels? And you saw Garrett Wilson with his weekly passionate display, we'll call it, on the sideline, not getting used right. So what's his frustration level going into the offseason? Those kind of things. And are there any young players? Maybe Izzy Abanaconda, the rookie running back, gets more involved. Maybe there's some guys, some rookie players you want to see their development. But really, the Jets season is just now, there's not a young quarterback you want to look at. Zach Wilson's gone, even if he returns from his head injury down the stretch. There's really not a lot to keep the Jets fan entertained here other than the possibility of Rodgers defying science.
Yeah, Rodgers coming back, interesting possibility. Makes me wonder for who and for what, but you kind of made the reasons about what he might want to prove here down the stretch. Now, we're recording this before Sunday Night Football in Week 15, and the Week 15 slate of games, they've been okay, but I got to ask you this. At this point, when you look around the NFL, who's the best team in the league right now?
I actually don't even know if it's close. I know the standings say it's close. There's a bunch of 10-3, 9-4 teams going into today. And I'm saying this not only before Sunday Night Football, Dex. Let's put a time. It's 5:30 Eastern time. So if the 49ers somehow gag it away, we can say it was before they did that. But it's the 49ers. I mean, you look at Pro Bowl voting, Dex. I think they had so I want to say that I should have looked at it. I think they had between 8 and 10 of the starters for the Pro Bowl right now at the 22 positions. Like their team is just loaded everywhere. Offense, defense, both specialists. Purdy's playing at a super high level. He was hurt early in this game, but came back in already. They're just loaded. They had that 3-game losing streak in the middle of the season, which seems like a total anomaly now. They've beaten up on the Cowboys and the Eagles, or the second and third best teams in the NFC. They beat them blew both teams out. So I think it's definitely the 49ers, top to bottom, talent and depth and coaching. And then I think in the AFC, it's the Ravens. And that's a little bit more up in the air for me than the NFC is. I'm pretty firm on the Niners. I think the Ravens, it's probably a little more jammed together with the Dolphins and the Chiefs. But the crazy thing is, Dex, the Ravens have trailed for something like 60 minutes all season. It was 45 minutes before their back and forth game with the Rams last week. So they've really lost 3 fluky games too, kind of like the 49ers. They've lost 3 games in the fourth quarter, basically. I think they haven't trailed going into the fourth quarter all season. I think their record is a little bit less than what they are. They could be, in a normal year, they could be one of those teams that's pushing to be a 15-2 caliber team. I think they're that good.
All right, Ravens in the AFC, Niners in the NFC as the best teams in the league right now. That is Ryan Dunleavy doing a great job for us, breaking down everything going on with football. Ryan, always good to talk to you. Thank you for the time.
Thanks for having me, Dex.